If you're a creator that deals with large amounts of content, this one's for you. This is the ZikeDrive Z666, and it helped me transfer a bunch of footage while I was on site really fast. This is a USB4 enclosure, which means it gets up to 40 gigabits a second of bandwidth, which for us creators means it gets 3.8 gigabytes a second of max read speeds and 3.1 gigabytes a second of max write speeds, which means you'll be transferring all that footage you got in no time. It supports M.2 NVMe SSDs all the way up to 2280. It's got a rugged aluminum shell for heat dissipation and protection, and its dimensions make it pretty compact, and it only weighs 245 grams. So whether you're shooting films, documentaries, commercial work, or weddings, you're gonna wanna have this ZikeDrive enclosure in your kit. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Royce, where I talk about all things film and tech related. And before we jump in, I do wanna talk about today's video sponsor, which is FlexiSpot. If you've been spending all those long hours at your desk editing your content, and you're starting to feel sore, stiff, or just plain uncomfortable, then I think it's time to finally upgrade that office chair of yours. This is the FlexiSpot OC4, and it's gonna be your new best friend for all-day comfort and support. With its fully customizable seat depth, height, and a 5-level adjustable back, the OC4 adapts to you and not the other way around. It's here to help that back pain with dynamic lumbar support and a 3D adjustable headrest for proper neck alignment. And for those times you just need a break, the 3D adjustable armrest and optional footrest can make it easy to kick back and recharge. So whether you're grinding through your work or taking a well-earned break, the FlexiSpot OC4 is built to support your lifestyle. So yeah, it's time to upgrade that comfort level. So check out my link in my description for some exclusive savings. Yeah. Now, Zyke did send over the enclosure for me to check out, but all of my thoughts and opinions on this thing are my own, and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have even made this video. You can feel the durability of this enclosure in the hands. This thing, it's gonna handle some impact. And it comes with 2 USB cables, one being this cool one that's hidden here right on the side of the enclosure that you can just slide out. I really like that. It's got this little handle, so it makes it easy to pop it in and to slide it back out. And this longer cable here, just in case you need a little bit more reach. And just in case you need a little bit more protection for your ZikeDrive, comes with a clear case. You just slide in like this. Just look for the opening on the side here and match that up with the side with the USB-C cable. Slide that in, and it's still open here at the top because there's this other piece that you can slide in here, but they leave this open because this is actually the hood that you can pop open like so, to where you can install the SSD. And on the top of the hood, this is where you will put the included thermal pad. And since we're on the topic, let me just show you how easy it is to install the SSD right in here. And the SSD I'm using is the Samsung 990 EVO Plus, which is 4 terabytes. Just slide that in there. And this enclosure is toolless, so you don't have to worry about screwing anything in. There's just this rubber stopper that you just slide over. Now it's secure. Pop the hood back on. And you can put the top of the clear case on there for the extra protection and just slide it within the grooves. Now I'm going to plug my ZikeDrive into my Mac Mini and we'll do a speed test to see what speeds we get. Because even with the marketed max speeds of 3.8 gigabytes a second of read speeds and 3.1 gigabytes a second of write speeds, in the real world, we're not actually going to get that. And this goes for any manufacturer, so it's important to check what speed you're actually going to be working with. And to do that, we're going to use Blackmagic's Disk Speed Test app. And if you're not familiar with this app, it's really great. Definitely download it if you don't have it yet. It's free. It's a great way to test the speed of your drives and also give you a rundown of the media files that your drive can actually handle when you're editing. So I'll point it to my ZikeDrive now, and let's hit start. Okay. Write speeds, we're actually getting about 3,000 to 3,100 megabytes a second, which is really good. And for read speeds, we're getting about the same, it looks like, 3,000 to 3,100. And if we go under here, will it work? We can see we are good to go with every resolution, every codec. So for write speeds, we're actually hitting that market point of 3.1 gigabytes a second. With read speeds, we're coming in about 700 megabytes a second slower. And like I said, that's kind of expected because these marketing speeds are always done under very specific conditions. But it is good to actually see we're getting the marketed write speeds, because that's going to be very important when transferring your files. And that segues into my next topic with how I actually use the ZikeDrive enclosure in my workflow. And the most recent example is a live event that my production company shot last weekend. It was a multicam type shoot where some cameras were shooting live events. We had other guys running around just shooting the event as it unfolded. We had some shooting on an FX6 and a Sony a7 IV, and we had others, including myself, shooting on RED cameras. One was a RED Komodo X shooting 6K footage, and the other was a RED VRaptor S35 shooting 8K footage. So altogether, these were large files and a lot of content. So throughout the day, as our cards filled up, we would have to go back, dump our footage, footage so we can go back out and keep filming. And the ZikeDrive made transferring files blazing fast. So you avoided those situations where people are kind of waiting on their cards and then card readers start getting backed up and then things just get really hectic. We didn't have to worry about any of that. It was smooth sailing. We were dropping hundreds of gigs of files in minutes. And when I say minutes, literally like 1 to 2 minutes. Now it is important to point out though that those speeds don't just rely on your enclosure or your SSD, whatever you have. A lot of that also is going to be determined on the card reader that you also have, because if you have a slow card reader, the speed of this is not going to matter. So let me break down what the media workflow actually looked like on that production. So I was shooting on here my RED VRaptor S35, get the Type B card out. This is a Lexar 1 terabyte card, and the max speed on here is 1900 megabytes a second. So this card actually isn't even fast enough to take advantage of the full speeds of the ZikeDrive. So that's always important to note. And the Type B card reader that I was using was the OWC Atlas FXR. And the Atlas gets transfer speeds up to 1600 megabytes a second, which is right on par with what I need for my Type B card that I use in my RED, but neither can take full advantage of the ZikeDrive enclosure speeds. But even still, things were transferring really fast. Now, there are faster cards out there, which I need to upgrade at some point, that will actually be able to tap into the faster speeds and will be able to transfer footage even faster. Now, with speeds like this, heat can be a big concern, but thankfully the ZikeDrive handles all of that no problem. The all-metal enclosure and thermal padding inside keep temps low, even during long file transfers. Now let's talk about price. On their website, the ZikeDrive is currently 40% off, going for $119. And if you use my promo code that's in the description below, you can get an additional 20% off. And with that price production, you now have something that's a little bit cheaper than the big names like Satechi and OWC. And yes, you can find other USB4 enclosures for cheaper on Amazon, where with the ZikeDrive, you're assured you're going to get that premium performance that comes in a little bit cheaper than the other premium brands. Why get an enclosure when you can just get a USB4 SSD that has the same speeds and performs the way you want it to perform? For me, it comes down to flexibility. You can get an all-in-one USB4 drive that's smaller, can be a little bit more portable, and that's fine if you want to go that route. But with the ZikeDrive, it is more purposely bulky, heavy duty, because when you're out in the field transferring files and you need to move from one location to another, things can happen, drives can drop, and with this being just the enclosure, you're at least a little bit more guaranteed that if anything were to happen to the enclosure itself, the NVMe SSD inside is really well protected, and that's going to be okay. So all your files are still going to be safe. And if your drives are getting filled up and you have a lot of content, instead of bringing a whole bunch of SSDs around, instead you could swap out the NVMe SSDs. So if you're shooting a lot of content, a lot of higher resolution footage, editing in the field, backing up multicam footage, or if you're just tired with dealing with slow drives or dealing with a bunch of different drives, I really think you guys should take a look at the ZikeDrive enclosure. I'm really loving this enclosure. I fully integrated it into my workflow, and I haven't had any regrets with it. I love the design. I love the protection that it offers. There's really not a lot of bad things I can say about it. I love the included smaller USB-C cable if you need that, or the longer one. To take out the NVMe SSD, sometimes that can be harder, especially you have to unscrew the top to get to it. This just slides off easily. And I usually have it without the clear case, honestly, because I just love the way it looks without it. Really not trying to sound like a hype beast, but I am a really big fan of this. And that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. And if so, please like and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Really means a lot. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.